Ladies and gentlemen, it's a harsh reality, but there are people out there who will do everything in their power to harm you, to exploit you, to break you down, sometimes without you even realizing it. We often think of evil as something grand and obvious: monsters, villains, or chaotic forces that destroy everything in their path. But the truth is, evil comes in many forms, and often it comes disguised as someone who seems harmless, someone who might even seem charming or well-intentioned. But let me tell you something: if you don't learn to spot the signs of an evil person in your life, they will slowly drain you of your energy, your peace, and your very soul. The first sign to watch for is deceptive charm and manipulation. These individuals are experts in masking their true nature. They will come across as friendly, caring, even loving, only to later show their true colors. They manipulate situations and people to serve their own selfish needs. Their charm is a facade, a tactic to gain your trust. And once they have it, they use it to control you. They don't care about you. What they care about is using you to further their agenda. Next, pay attention to constant drama and chaos. Evil people love confusion and disorder. They thrive in environments of emotional turmoil. It feeds them, fuels them, makes them feel powerful. They will inject themselves into situations, stirring up conflict where there was none, creating emotional crisis, and then standing by to watch the damage unfold. The chaos is their playground, and your peace, it's their target. Another clear sign is when they undermine and sabotage others. These individuals don't want to see you succeed unless it benefits them. If you're on the path to greatness, you'll find that they'll subtly tear you down, offering help that only leads to failure, or giving advice that ultimately sabotages your progress. Evil people are threatened by your success and will try to diminish it, making you doubt your own abilities. Watch out for those who are always projecting blame onto others. They never take responsibility for their actions, their mistakes, or their wrongdoings. Instead, they shift the blame onto you or someone else, never admitting fault or wrongdoing. This is a key sign that you're dealing with someone who cannot be trusted. They will never acknowledge their role in a situation. It's always someone else's fault. Evil people also exhibit a lack of empathy. They may appear indifferent to your pain, or worse, they might take pleasure in it. They are capable of hurting others without a second thought because they have no true understanding of the consequences of their actions on another person. They are emotionally detached, focused solely on themselves and their desires, completely blind to the suffering they cause. Then there's toxic positivity or negativity. They will either bombard you with forced positivity, suggesting you should ignore your pain, your struggles, and pretend everything is fine, or they will constantly feed you negativity, dragging you down with their pessimism and bitterness. Both tactics are manipulative, designed to push you into a corner, making you feel either too weak to fight back or too guilty to confront them. Lastly, an evil person will exploit your vulnerabilities. They will learn your deepest fears and insecurities and then use them against you. They know what makes you tick, and they'll exploit those weaknesses to get what they want. They thrive on your discomfort, using your emotional triggers to manipulate your behavior, your decisions, and your mindset. If you recognize any of these signs in the people around you, it's time to take action. You cannot afford to let these toxic individuals continue to control your life. It's not just about protecting yourself, it's about reclaiming your power. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who encourage you, who respect you, and who genuinely care about your well-being. You have the right to be free from manipulation, from chaos, and from exploitation. So ask yourself, are you surrounded by people who build you up? Or are you allowing people who drain you to stay in your life? Protect your peace, protect your energy, and take back your life from those who seek to destroy it. Don't wait until it's too late. It's your life, and it's time you take full control of it. Conclusion: the moment you recognize these signs, you have a choice. You can either continue tolerating these individuals in your life, or you can set boundaries, protect your energy, and walk away from them. The power to change your reality is within you, but only if you choose to act on it. Don't let anyone dictate your life. You are stronger than you know. Step into your power, recognize the signs, and never let anyone, no matter how charming, manipulate you again. Deceptive charm and manipulation: one of the most dangerous traits of an evil person is their ability to deceive. They wear a mask of charm and friendliness, making it difficult for you to see their true intentions. They may appear like the most genuine person, always ready to help, always smiling, always offering support. They know exactly what to say, when to say it, and how to make you feel comfortable. But beneath this surface, their motives are anything but pure. They seek to manipulate others for personal gain, using kindness as a tool to influence and control. When an individual has mastered the art of manipulation, they can twist situations to suit their needs, causing you to doubt your own perceptions. They may use flattery or empathy to get close to you, making you feel like they care about you more than anyone else does. And once they've gained your trust, that's when they begin to assert control over your life. Their manipulation isn't always obvious at first. It's subtle, insidious. At first, you might feel like you're receiving sound advice or genuine care. But over time, you'll start noticing how their words and actions don't quite align. They might offer help, but always with strings attached. They'll push you to act in ways that benefit them, while making you feel as though you're the one doing the right thing. This deceptive charm creates confusion. It leads you to question your own judgment, especially when things start to go wrong. The truth is, evil people know how to exploit your vulnerabilities, your need for validation, your desire for connection. They know exactly what buttons to push to make you feel like you owe them something. And before you know it, you're caught in a cycle of giving while they continue taking from you. By the time you realize the extent of their manipulation, you may feel trapped or helpless. Their charm is a weapon, and it's one they wield with precision. The key to recognizing this trait is to pay attention to how you feel when you're around them. Do you feel drained, confused, or constantly second-guessing yourself? Do their actions seem to always serve their interests rather than yours? If so, that's a sign that you may be dealing with someone who's more interested in controlling you than in truly supporting you. The more they charm, the more you should guard your heart and your decisions. The challenge is to see through their charming exterior and recognize the underlying manipulation for what it is. And once you identify this, you must take action. Walk away, set boundaries, and protect yourself from further harm. It's hard, but it's necessary. Don't let anyone, no matter how charming, control your life. You deserve honesty, you deserve genuine care, and you deserve respect. Constant drama and chaos, evil individuals thrive in chaos. They have an uncanny ability to create and sustain a state of emotional turmoil in the lives of others. Where there is peace, they sow discord. Where there is stability, they introduce uncertainty. This can manifest in a variety of ways, from starting arguments out of nowhere to subtly encouraging misunderstandings or even manipulating situations to ensure there is always some form of conflict. The goal is not necessarily to win the argument or even prove a point, but to destabilize your emotional equilibrium. They want you to be off balance, distracted, and constantly reacting to the turmoil they've created. At first, it may seem like nothing more than a few disagreements or issues cropping up in the background. You might chalk it up to bad luck or unavoidable life problems. However, when you take a step back, you start noticing a pattern. Whenever you're around this person, things always seem to go wrong. Conversations turn into heated arguments. Events you've been looking forward to become marred by unexpected issues. Plans you've made are disrupted by last-minute problems. This is not just bad luck. This is a person who is actively creating chaos in your life. They don't necessarily create this drama overtly. Sometimes it's in the small, insidious ways. A snide remark here, an offhand comment there, a suggestion that leads to a misunderstanding. But over time, this constant disruption takes its toll. You become worn down by the never-ending tension and the emotional strain of trying to manage everything around you. You might even find yourself questioning your own ability to handle the situation, wondering if you're imagining the issues or if you're somehow the cause of all the problems. This constant state of chaos is designed to keep you off balance, to prevent you from finding peace or clarity. Evil people feed on this disorder because it gives them power. In the midst of chaos, they can operate in the shadows, manipulating others and avoiding the scrutiny they would face in calmer times. They might even play the victim, making you feel responsible for the chaos they've caused, twisting the situation to their advantage. Recognizing this sign involves being able to step back and take a broader view of your life. Ask yourself, is there always some form of drama or conflict when this person is around? Do you find that things only seem to go wrong when they are involved? If the answer is yes, then you're likely dealing with someone who is deliberately creating chaos in your life. The best thing you can do when faced with this behavior is to distance yourself and protect your peace. Set boundaries and remove yourself from situations that are unnecessarily turbulent. Your mental and emotional health are far more valuable than any drama they seek to create. Undermining and sabotaging others, an evil person doesn't want to see you succeed, at least not unless it directly benefits them. They thrive on control, and nothing threatens their dominance more than seeing someone else grow or achieve their goals. In their eyes, you are either a tool to be used or a threat to be eliminated. One of the most insidious ways they go about this is by subtly undermining or sabotaging the progress of those around them. This can take many forms. On the surface, it might look like casual criticism or helpful advice, but under closer inspection, these actions are designed to weaken you. They may subtly belittle your achievements, downplay your accomplishments, or make you feel inadequate. The goal is not to encourage you to do better, but to erode your confidence and make you doubt yourself. They might tell you that your plans are unrealistic or that your goals are out of reach, not because they genuinely want to help, but because they don't want you to succeed. Sometimes the sabotage is more direct. They might withhold crucial information, mislead you about important details, or actively sabotage your work or efforts. In the workplace, this could look like taking credit for your ideas, spreading rumors, or creating obstacles that hinder your progress. In personal relationships, it could manifest as creating division, encouraging conflicts, or manipulating situations to drive a wedge between you and those who support you. The key characteristic of this type of sabotage is that it is often done under the guise of kindness or helpfulness. They may say things like, "I'm just trying to protect you," or "I'm only trying to help you see the bigger picture." But the truth is, they're trying to keep you small to prevent you from reaching your full potential. They may even try to make you feel like you're incapable of succeeding without their guidance, which further entrenches their control over you. Recognizing this behavior is crucial. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with this person. Do you feel drained, less confident, or uncertain about your abilities? Are your successes belittled or dismissed? If so, it's likely that you're being undermined. This kind of toxic behavior can have a long-lasting impact on your self-esteem and your ability to pursue your goals. The best way to deal with this is to distance yourself from individuals who engage in this kind of sabotage and to surround yourself with people who truly support and uplift you. Don't let anyone make you feel like you are incapable or undeserving of success. You are more than capable of achieving your dreams, and it's essential to cut out any influences that seek to keep you down. Projecting blame, one of the most characteristic behaviors of an evil person, is their constant shifting of responsibility. They are rarely, if ever, willing to take accountability for their actions. Instead, they will project blame onto others, regardless of the truth. This behavior is deeply rooted in their need to maintain control over situations and avoid facing the consequences of their actions. By refusing to accept responsibility, they not only evade the repercussions of their behavior, but they also place the burden of guilt and shame onto someone else, usually the person who is least likely to defend themselves or challenge the accusation. The projection of blame is an insidious form of manipulation. It can start small, with a minor mistake or misunderstanding that gets blown out of proportion, but over time it escalates. They may blame others for things that are clearly their fault or twist situations so that you are left questioning your own actions. They will often accuse you of the very things they themselves are guilty of, attempting to shift the focus and make you seem like the one who is in the wrong. For example, in a workplace setting, an evil person might fail to complete a project or miss a crucial deadline. Instead of owning up to their failure, they might point fingers at you or another colleague, claiming that you were the reason for the setback. They might exaggerate or distort the facts to make their accusations seem valid, causing confusion and frustration. In personal relationships, this could manifest as them always blaming you for arguments or issues that arise, never once admitting that their own actions were the cause. The real danger in this behavior lies in the way it chips away at your confidence and sense of self. When someone constantly blames you for things you didn't do, it can cause you to doubt your own perceptions of reality. Over time, this could lead you to feel guilty or responsible for things that are outside of your control, giving the manipulator more power over you. Recognizing this pattern is crucial because it allows you to see through the illusion they create. Once you acknowledge that they are consistently deflecting blame, you can start to break free from their control. The solution is to stop internalizing their accusations. When you find yourself in situations where blame is being projected onto you, take a step back and assess the situation objectively. Are you truly responsible for the outcome, or are you being unfairly blamed? The key is to reclaim your power by refusing to accept guilt that doesn't belong to you. And if necessary, set clear boundaries with this person, refusing to engage in conversations where blame is being unfairly directed at you. Lack of empathy. An evil person's ability to inflict harm is deeply rooted in their total lack of empathy. They are completely indifferent to the feelings and suffering of others. Where most people would instinctively feel compassion or sorrow when they witness another person in pain, an evil person remains cold, detached, and even finds joy in the misfortune of others. Their lack of empathy allows them to act in ways that are hurtful, manipulative, and selfish, without any regard for the emotional or physical consequences of their actions. This absence of empathy is often masked by superficial charm or outward kindness, which can make it difficult to recognize the true nature of the person. They may appear concerned for others on the surface, but when it comes down to it, their actions show no genuine care. They might offer you help in a way that ultimately serves their own interests or manipulate you into doing something that benefits them at your expense. They may even use your vulnerabilities against you, exploiting your emotional needs or fears to gain control over you. In relationships, this lack of empathy can be devastating. They will not be there for you when you need emotional support, and they may even belittle your feelings or dismiss your concerns. If you are going through a difficult time, instead of offering comfort or understanding, they might criticize or belittle you, making you feel like your pain is irrelevant. In extreme cases, they may even find pleasure in seeing you suffer, viewing your discomfort as a form of validation for their own twisted sense of power. The lack of empathy is also evident in their interactions with others. They may ignore or dismiss the struggles of those around them, showing no concern for how their words or actions affect others. If someone else is hurting, they may mock or ridicule them, treating their pain as a joke. This behavior can make you feel isolated, as if your emotions are meaningless or unimportant to them. Recognizing a lack of empathy is crucial because it helps you understand that the person is not capable of having a healthy, supportive relationship with you. They cannot offer you the love, care, or respect that you deserve. The best way to handle such individuals is to distance yourself from them and protect your emotional well-being. They are incapable of offering the emotional support and care that you need, and staying in a relationship with them can cause lasting harm to your mental and emotional health, toxic positivity or negativity. An evil person often manipulates others through an extreme form of either positivity or negativity. These tactics are not about genuinely lifting others up or bringing them down. They are methods of control. Toxic positivity is when someone insists on ignoring the realities of a situation and forces you to focus only on the good side of things, often dismissing your pain or struggles. They may constantly tell you to stay positive or just think happy thoughts, without acknowledging the very real challenges you are facing. This behavior not only invalidates your emotions, but also forces you to suppress any negative feelings, which can lead to internalized frustration and confusion. On the other hand, toxic negativity is when someone constantly drags others down with their pessimism and bitterness. They may constantly point out what's wrong with the world or with your life, offering no hope or encouragement. They might claim to be realistic or honest, but in reality, they are simply making you feel hopeless and defeated. The constant negativity makes it difficult to see any positive aspects of life, leaving you stuck in a state of despair. Both forms of toxicity are designed to control your emotions and manipulate your behavior. With toxic positivity, the person is trying to make you feel guilty for experiencing real emotions, while with toxic negativity, they are trying to convince you that there is no point in trying or changing anything. These individuals thrive on your emotional instability, and they will use both positivity and negativity as tools to manipulate you into a state of confusion, where you are constantly unsure of what is real or what is true. Recognizing these behaviors can help you break free from their control and reclaim your emotional balance. Isolation and control. Evil people often use isolation as a tool to maintain control over others. By cutting off their target from their support system, friends, family, or even colleagues, they ensure that their victim is more dependent on them. This tactic often starts subtly, with small comments or behaviors designed to cause doubt about others' intentions. They might insinuate that your friends or family don't really care about you or aren't good influences, making you feel like you are better off relying on them alone. Gradually, they might discourage you from spending time with loved ones or convince you that these relationships are toxic, while emphasizing that they are the only one who truly understands or cares for you. Over time, this isolation can make you feel alone and vulnerable. With fewer people around to provide support, you are more likely to become dependent on the person who has orchestrated your isolation. This control tactic is often cloaked in the guise of concern or care. They might tell you that they are just looking out for your best interests, but what they are really doing is pushing you into a state of emotional and psychological dependence. Once you are isolated, they can more easily manipulate your actions, thoughts, and decisions. They might tell you how to think, what to believe, or how to act, and because you have no one else to turn to for advice or perspective, you may start to accept their view as the only truth. This can make it even harder to recognize that you're being controlled, as the person isolates you from the very people who could help you see the truth. Recognizing this tactic involves being aware of how your relationships are changing. Do you find yourself spending less time with others? Do you feel like the person is trying to create distance between you and your support system? If so, it's important to take a step back and assess the situation. Isolation is one of the most effective ways an evil person can control you, so it's crucial to maintain your relationships with trusted friends and family. If you notice this behavior, it's essential to set boundaries and reconnect with those who care about you. Your support system is vital for your emotional well-being, and cutting yourself off from it will only make it easier for the manipulator to exert control. Refusing to acknowledge boundaries. Evil people have a tendency to disregard the personal boundaries of others, either knowingly or subconsciously, because they seek to exert control and influence over every aspect of your life. Boundaries are essential for maintaining healthy relationships and personal well-being. They define where one person ends and another begins. But for an evil person, these boundaries are seen as obstacles to be crossed, ignored, or undermined. They see your personal space, both physical and emotional, as something they have the right to invade. Whether it's your time, your personal beliefs, or your emotions, they'll push against your boundaries, refusing to respect them, and in many cases, making you feel guilty for setting them in the first place. They might make you feel bad for saying no to their demands, manipulating your sense of guilt or responsibility to get you to comply. They may engage in behaviors that are intrusive or inappropriate, such as constantly calling you, showing up uninvited, or questioning your decisions to the point of making you doubt your judgment. Their refusal to acknowledge your boundaries is a form of control. By ignoring your limits, they assert their power over you. In some cases, this behavior escalates to more overt forms of manipulation, such as emotional blackmail or gaslighting. They may make you feel like you owe them something, or that you're being unreasonable for wanting personal space or respect for your time. If you are dealing with someone who refuses to acknowledge your boundaries, it's crucial to set clear and firm limits with them. Do not be afraid to assert your needs and stand your ground, even if they try to make you feel guilty or wrong for doing so. This can be challenging, especially if the person is skilled at manipulation, but the only way to protect yourself from further harm is to be resolute in your boundaries. Let them know that your space and time are non-negotiable. If they continue to push or disregard your boundaries, it may be necessary to distance yourself from them entirely. Chronic lying and deception, one of the clearest signs of an evil person, is their propensity to lie. These individuals don't just tell small fibs or stretch the truth. They engage in chronic deception, weaving a complex web of lies to manipulate those around them. They lie not only to protect themselves, but also to maintain control, create confusion, and manipulate others into doing what they want. For them, the truth is irrelevant. What matters is their ability to fabricate a reality that serves their interests. A skilled liar can make you question your own perception of events. They may twist facts, invent stories, or deny things they've said or done, all in an attempt to shape the narrative in their favor. They will lie without hesitation, even when the truth is obvious, and they'll do so in a way that makes you feel like you're the one in the wrong. They may gaslight you, making you doubt your memory, your perception, or your sanity. By constantly shifting the narrative and making you question what's true, they gain control over your thoughts and actions. In relationships, chronic lying can lead to emotional devastation. The constant deceit erodes trust, making it impossible for you to rely on this person or have any certainty about their motives. Over time, you begin to live in a state of confusion, not knowing what's real and what's fabricated. This can cause deep emotional pain as you try to reconcile the reality of the situation with the version of events the liar is presenting. You may even feel like you're losing your grip on reality, unable to discern the truth from the lies. Recognizing chronic lying is crucial for protecting yourself. If you catch someone in a lie or notice inconsistencies in their story, it's essential to trust your instincts and not dismiss your concerns. Chronic liars often rely on your doubt to maintain their power over you, so it's important to confront the situation head-on. Whether you choose to address the lies directly or distance yourself from the person altogether, taking action is necessary to prevent further manipulation. The sooner you can see through the web of lies, the sooner you can regain control of your own reality. Emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation is one of the most common tactics used by evil individuals to control those around them. They prey on your emotions to get what they want, making you feel guilt, fear, or obligation to do things for them that you wouldn't otherwise do. These manipulative individuals have an incredible ability to read people and know exactly how to tug at your heartstrings, making you feel emotionally responsible for their happiness or well-being. They might use your feelings against you by playing the victim or using emotional blackmail to get their way. One of the ways emotional manipulators work is by constantly shifting their emotions to gain your sympathy and support. If they want something from you, they will act vulnerable or helpless, making you feel guilty if you don't help them. They might say things like, "If you really cared about me, you'd do this for me," or "I'm so upset. I don't know how I'll get through this without your help." These emotional outbursts are designed to put you in a position where you feel you have to give in to their demands, often at the cost of your own well-being. In romantic relationships, emotional manipulation can be especially damaging. The manipulator might use tactics such as guilt, tripping, blaming, or even gaslighting to make you question your own feelings and perceptions. They might convince you that you're responsible for their happiness or emotional stability. And if you don't comply with their requests, they make you feel like you are the one who is being selfish or uncaring. Over time, this can lead to emotional exhaustion as you constantly try to meet their needs while sacrificing your own. To counteract emotional manipulation, it's essential to recognize it early and set firm emotional boundaries. If someone consistently uses your emotions against you to get what they want, you must be willing to stand up for yourself and protect your emotional well-being. Learning to recognize when you're being manipulated and learning to say no without feeling guilty is crucial in maintaining a healthy balance in your relationships. Excessive self-centeredness. A person who is excessively self-centered has an inflated sense of their own importance and expects others to cater to their needs, desires, and whims without question. They view the world through a lens of what's in it for me and have little to no consideration for how their actions affect others. This egocentric behavior often comes across as narcissistic, and they will go to great lengths to ensure that their needs are prioritized above everyone else's. An evil person who exhibits excessive self-centeredness may demand attention, validation, and admiration at all times. They believe they are entitled to everything and will not hesitate to manipulate or use others to get what they want. They may have little regard for other people's time, emotions, or opinions, and will often disregard your needs if they conflict with their own desires. In relationships, this means that the other person's feelings and needs are secondary, and their primary focus is on getting their own way, no matter what it takes. In social situations, an overly self-centered person might dominate conversations, making everything about them. They will talk about their accomplishments, their problems, or their opinions without any consideration for what others are going through or feel. They will interrupt, dismiss, or belittle others, making sure that the focus remains on themselves. This constant need for attention and approval can be draining for those around them, as it leaves little room for authentic, two-way conversations. In some cases, they may act as though they are doing others a favor by simply existing, expecting others to be grateful for their attention or presence. They may exploit the kindness of others, taking advantage of people who are willing to help or offer support. This behavior is driven by their need to feel superior, validated, and constantly admired. To deal with a self-centered person, it's crucial to establish clear boundaries. You need to understand that their constant need for attention or approval is not a reflection of your worth or importance. It's also essential to recognize when you are being taken advantage of or being manipulated into meeting their needs at the expense of your own. If you're in a relationship with such a person, it's important to communicate your feelings and needs and be prepared to distance yourself if they continue to prioritize themselves above others. Jealousy and envy. An evil person often experiences intense jealousy and envy, which they use as motivation to undermine others. These feelings are not simply fleeting emotions. They are a deep-seated belief that they deserve what others have, whether it's success, love, or happiness. An evil person will harbor resentment toward those who they believe have something they lack, and they may go to great lengths to sabotage or destroy what others have in order to feel better about themselves. In a workplace, an envious person might constantly undermine a colleague's success, belittling their achievements or taking credit for their work. They may spread rumors or gossip about the person, trying to tarnish their reputation to make themselves look better in comparison. In personal relationships, an evil person may become jealous of the attention you give to others or the love and respect you receive from people around you. This jealousy can quickly escalate into controlling behavior, where the person tries to isolate you from others or limit your interactions with friends, family, or colleagues. Jealousy often leads to harmful actions, including manipulation, deceit, and betrayal. The jealous individual will find ways to make you feel guilty for having something they don't, often playing the victim to get sympathy or support. They might also act passive-aggressive or become openly hostile, creating tension and conflict. This is a deliberate attempt to make you feel uncomfortable or guilty about your success or happiness, ultimately forcing you to question your own worth. To protect yourself from someone who is consumed by jealousy and envy, it's important to recognize the signs early. Be mindful of how the person behaves when you succeed or achieve something meaningful. Do they react with support or enthusiasm, or do they make snide comments or try to diminish your accomplishments? If you notice jealousy-driven behavior, it's important to set boundaries and limit your interactions with that person. You don't need to shrink your success or happiness to make them feel better. Playing the victim. One of the most insidious behaviors of an evil person is their ability to manipulate situations by playing the victim. They may use this tactic to gain sympathy, avoid responsibility, or justify their harmful actions. A person who constantly plays the victim will never take accountability for their own behavior or mistakes. Instead, they will make you feel guilty for their suffering, no matter the circumstances, and convince you that you are somehow the cause of their problems. This tactic is designed to draw attention away from their harmful actions and place it on their supposed misfortune. They may exaggerate their problems or create false narratives to make you feel sorry for them, encouraging you to offer help, time, or resources that you wouldn't otherwise provide. The manipulator will paint themselves as someone who is constantly being wronged by others, despite the fact that they are often the instigator or responsible for their own suffering. By playing the victim, an evil person can control how others perceive them, turning the focus onto their own needs and away from their toxic behaviors. They may even manipulate you into thinking that helping them is a moral obligation, leveraging your empathy and sense of duty. Over time, this can wear you down emotionally and mentally as you constantly feel responsible for alleviating their distress. Recognizing this tactic requires an awareness of how the person consistently deflects blame and makes themselves the center of attention in difficult situations. If you notice that someone always seems to portray themselves as the victim, especially when they are the cause of their own problems, it's important to establish firm boundaries. Don't let them manipulate your empathy for their gain. It's essential to stop enabling their behavior and hold them accountable for their actions. Chronic criticism and belittling. An evil person often engages in chronic criticism and belittling of others as a means of exerting control, undermining self-esteem, and asserting their superiority. This behavior goes beyond constructive criticism. It's meant to make you feel small, inadequate, and inferior. They may make cruel, cutting remarks about your appearance, intelligence, or abilities, aiming to reduce your confidence and make you dependent on their approval. The belittling remarks may start subtly, with small jabs disguised as jokes or advice, but over time, they escalate into more direct insults. They might mock you for your ideas, diminish your accomplishments, or ridicule your interests. Their criticism may seem justified in the moment, but it's usually intended to make you feel like you can't succeed without them or that you're not worthy of respect or recognition. A common tactic of this behavior is gaslighting, where they manipulate you into questioning your perceptions of reality. They might tell you that you're overreacting or being too sensitive when you point out their hurtful comments. By consistently devaluing you and making you feel insecure, they maintain control over you. This is a psychological tactic designed to wear you down over time, forcing you to doubt your worth and become more reliant on their approval or validation. The impact of chronic criticism can be devastating to a person's self-esteem and mental health. If you constantly feel like you're not good enough, you may begin to internalize the negative messages being fed to you. It's important to recognize when someone is intentionally belittling you and make an effort to distance yourself from their toxic influence. If you must interact with this person, setting clear boundaries and defending your worth is crucial. a need to constantly win or be right. An evil person often has an insatiable need to win at all costs, whether in an argument, competition, or relationship. Their ego demands that they be seen as superior, and they will go to great lengths to ensure that they are always right, no matter how unreasonable or wrong they might actually be. In discussions or disagreements, they will rarely listen to opposing viewpoints or consider alternative perspectives. Instead, they will bulldoze over others, manipulate facts, or twist logic to ensure their position is always validated. This need to be right stems from a deep insecurity. Evil people are often driven by a fear of being exposed as flawed or inadequate. To mask these insecurities, they project an image of invulnerability and perfection. They will argue, deflect, and dominate conversations to maintain this false sense of superiority. In their eyes, being wrong is a sign of weakness, and they cannot tolerate it. When you're dealing with someone like this, you'll find that even when they are wrong, they will refuse to admit it. Instead of accepting responsibility or acknowledging mistakes, they will either deny the facts, shift the blame, or belittle you for pointing out their errors. This behavior is exhausting and can make you feel frustrated or unheard, as the other person is unwilling to engage in any meaningful dialogue. Recognizing this behavior requires observing how the individual interacts during conflicts or debates. Do they refuse to listen? Are they more focused on winning than understanding? Are they dismissive of your viewpoint or make you feel inferior for having a different opinion? If you encounter this type of behavior, it's important to disengage from unnecessary arguments. They will never acknowledge your perspective because their priority is always winning, not resolving the issue. In relationships, this behavior can create power struggles where the focus is more on proving who is right rather than resolving the issue at hand. It's vital to protect your own mental and emotional energy by not getting caught in a battle where the other person is unwilling to compromise. Lack of empathy. One of the most defining traits of an evil person is a complete lack of empathy for others. They simply do not understand or care about how their actions affect the feelings, needs, or well-being of those around them. Whether it's causing emotional pain, exploiting others for personal gain, or behaving callously, these individuals rarely feel remorse for their behavior. This absence of empathy allows them to act without consideration of the impact on others, often leaving a trail of hurt and destruction in their wake. People without empathy often struggle to connect with others on a deeper level. They may appear cold, indifferent, or dismissive of others' emotions and struggles. In relationships, they are usually unwilling to support their partners emotionally, offering little comfort or understanding in times of need. They might view others' feelings as unimportant or irrelevant, focusing solely on their own desires, goals, and satisfaction. Lack of empathy can be seen in various behaviors, such as neglecting the needs of others, being dismissive of someone's pain, or taking advantage of people in vulnerable situations. This detachment from others' feelings allows the evil person to exploit others for personal gain without any guilt. They might even go so far as to manipulate, deceive, or betray those closest to them, knowing that they won't suffer any emotional consequences for their actions. Recognizing a lack of empathy is crucial in identifying toxic individuals who may be capable of inflicting harm without remorse. If someone consistently disregards or minimizes your feelings, it's important to take note and assess whether this person is contributing positively to your life. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, care, and empathy. Without these qualities, the relationship is likely to be one-sided and ultimately harmful. Gaslighting is a manipulative tactic in which a person distorts the truth, undermines someone's reality, and causes them to question their own perceptions, memories, and sanity. An evil person uses this technique to gain control and power by destabilizing the victim's sense of self. Gaslighting can be incredibly damaging because it makes you doubt your own mind, leaving you vulnerable and dependent on the manipulator's version of reality. This tactic typically involves lying, denying facts, or providing alternate versions of events to make the victim question their memory or perception. For example, a gaslighter might tell you that something you vividly remember never happened, or that you are overreacting to something that was, in reality, a serious issue. They might say things like, "You're just imagining things," or "You're too sensitive, that never happened." Over time, these constant manipulations can erode your confidence and sense of self-worth. Gaslighting is often used in intimate relationships or workplaces where the manipulator has close access to the victim and can influence their reality over time. The goal is to make you feel confused, isolated, and dependent on the manipulator for validation. This leaves you in a constant state of self-doubt, unsure of what is real and what isn't. To protect yourself from gaslighting, it's essential to trust your own instincts and perceptions. Keep track of important events, conversations, and behaviors in writing so you have a clear record of the facts. If someone is constantly making you feel confused or questioning your own sanity, it's important to seek support from others who can help you regain clarity. Gaslighting is a dangerous form of manipulation that can take a serious toll on your mental health, so recognizing it early is key to protecting yourself. Blaming others for their problems. A hallmark of an evil person is their constant tendency to blame others for their own problems, failures, or shortcomings. Rather than accepting responsibility for their actions or taking accountability for their mistakes, they deflect blame onto others, even when they are the ones who caused the issue. This behavior is often a tactic used to avoid guilt, shame, or any personal growth. In any given situation, the evil person will create a narrative where they are the victim and everyone else is to blame. If something goes wrong at work, in a relationship, or in a social setting, they will quickly point the finger at someone else. They may say things like, "It's not my fault. If only you had done this differently," or "This would never have happened if you had helped me." This tactic allows them to avoid facing the consequences of their own actions and places the responsibility on others. This need to deflect blame often results in a lack of personal growth. An evil person will rarely examine their own behavior or make an effort to improve themselves. Instead, they will continue to make excuses, lie, or manipulate the truth to avoid any personal responsibility. In relationships, this can be incredibly damaging because it places the burden of responsibility on the other person, leaving them constantly trying to fix problems that they didn't create. Recognizing this pattern requires an awareness of how the person responds when things go wrong. Are they quick to blame others and avoid accountability? Do they make excuses or play the victim? If you notice this behavior, it's essential to stand firm in your own beliefs and not let them shift the responsibility onto you. Hold them accountable for their actions and refuse to accept blame for things that aren't your fault. Creating chaos. Another common trait of an evil person is their tendency to create chaos and confusion around them. Whether through stirring up drama, spreading rumors, or inciting conflict, these individuals thrive in situations of instability and confusion. They often provoke arguments, manipulate circumstances, or make baseless accusations to generate discord among friends, family, or colleagues. This behavior is usually driven by a need for control or attention. By creating chaos, the evil person ensures that others are focused on the turmoil they've caused, distracting from their own issues or shortcomings. They may sow distrust between people, make people doubt each other, or escalate minor problems into major conflicts. The resulting tension allows them to maintain control over the situation and keep others off balance. In some cases, they may even create chaos in their own life, fostering drama and conflict for the sole purpose of drawing attention to themselves. They might create situations where others feel compelled to intervene or solve problems that they themselves have caused, further increasing the sense of confusion and instability around them. To handle a person who thrives on creating chaos, it's essential to stay calm and not get drawn into their drama. Maintain a clear perspective and avoid getting caught up in their manipulations. It's important to set boundaries and refuse to engage in situations that they've intentionally complicated. If you recognize that someone is constantly creating turmoil, it may be necessary to distance yourself from them to preserve your own peace and well-being.